maybe before we actually start into the discussion, can we just do a quick intro session? And if you can just introduce yourself, how you came to be on the commission, and then we'll move along. I'll start. I'm Jean Goldsberry. I'm the chair of the commission. I've been on the commission for, oh gosh, I don't know, 12 years, something like that. Since the very beginning. Jennifer's nodding because she's been on since the very beginning as well. And in the other part of my life, when I'm not at the commission meetings, I'm the head of Minuteman ARC.
Okay, Karen Young, I have been on the commission for a number of years. I don't know how many, but I'm here, and I have a almost 30-year-old son who has intellectual and developmental disabilities, and he's lives independently, pretty functional in the community, but I'm here advocating for him and others like him. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw him in Crosby's last night. Oh, maybe night before last. Well, one of those.
He's working hard. Yes.
He was. He was.
Well, hi, I'll just say I'm Wendy Ravelli. I'm a select board member, and I'm here for a specific topic, but I will just also say that Mark Howell is your select board assigned liaison.
good.
And I know he can't come this evening, so
Okay.
I'll stay as long as I can until
Okay.
I have to leave for the Recreation
All right.
Commission.
All right. All right. So on screen, can't quite see.
I know, these wires are.
Yeah. Is it, can you just push the laptop this way a little bit?
Yeah. Let's
Oh,
this way. There you
all
go.
right. There we go.
Okay.
So Andrew.
Yeah, hi, I'm Andrew Kirkpatrick, and my first meeting here on the Disability Commission, so I'm happy to be here. I did note that the minutes said that my wife and I have mobility issues, neither of which is actually true. But I have worked in the disability space on the technology side for the past 25 years. So, and that's one of the things that I'm interested in helping engage with, because there's some new regulations that apply to the town that we need to be on top of.
Okay. Tracy?
Hi, Tracy Morano. I'm not actually on the commission. I am chair of the regional school committee, just here to listen. And I think you're talking about the amenities building later. So I'm here to answer any questions. Thanks.
Okay. Justine?
Hi, everyone. Justine Martinelli. This is the third meeting I've attended. I think the first as an official member, yet to be sworn in though. My son Ethan is 5 years old, enrolled in Concord Public Schools. He is disabled, and I am here advocating for him and others like him.
Okay, great. Jennifer?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Brooke. I am one of the original members of what started out as a disability committee and has since become a commission. I'm very excited to see new members here. When I started, my son was in preschool, and Merrill, who is not here tonight, cornered me and said, "You really need to be on this commission or this committee." My little guy is now going to be 19, and he is deaf, he is blind, he has cerebral palsy. So we cover all the disability basics. And I run a landscape architecture office with my husband here in Concord. So we have a unique perspective on the kind of empirical aspects of accessibility from a professional standpoint. And then we have a different kind of perspective as parents of a child, now an adult with disability. So I'm happy to see all of you here, and like you, I'm here to make Concord as accessible as possible.
Thank you, Jennifer. How about Robert? Robert,
you're muted, Robert.
There we are.
Very good.
I'm Robert Simon, and I live in Concord, of course. I am a retired medical educator, a professor. Retirement is great. those of you who are there, I'm sure you understand. My wife is deaf. I have my doctorate in education, so I have this ongoing passion for learning and growing and giving people opportunities that they might not have known they had before. So this is my first meeting. As some of you probably can see, I'm kind of a stranger, and I'm really excited to get started, and I'm looking forward to how this unfolds.
Wonderful. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Laura.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Laura Will. This is my first meeting as member, potential member. I attended a meeting, kind of pushed into a meeting last spring when Justine and I, along with some others, were actively working to improve the design of a new playground in town, and was kind of excited to hear about the presence of this commission, and I continue to lean in. I also have a young child with significant physical disability and intellectual disability, the degree of which is kind of TBD. I'm also a trained geriatric nurse practitioner and have cared for many patients who are experiencing disability at the other end of their life. And yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And I see Janet coming on. We'll give her just a minute. Wendy, do you want to talk a little bit about what you were concerned about here tonight?
Sure, actually, and Jean, I appreciate it. And so thank you all for listening to me. As a select board member, I'm here tonight to represent our Concord Nanai relationship. If many of you are aware, we have a sister city relationship with Nanai. And upcoming at the end of the month, we'll have 9 students here up at the high school that will be doing an exchange program for a week. And with those students, we have a town official who'll be coming, staying with me. That'll be my honor. But we also have an English teacher that's coming, and the English teacher is disabled in a wheelchair. But is very independent and is sort of a world traveler. But we're a little challenged right now in Concord because we haven't been able to find a host family for this individual. As many of you know, the houses in Concord are sort of old, like mine, and they're not as accessible as they'd like to be. And we're a little challenged trying to find a host family. So I've been outreaching to a number of groups to see if people could pass on this need, or if you know of people who might be willing to support us. The group will be here. They're arriving on October 27th, and they're going to stay until Tuesday, November 4th. And the Nanai network, the CNN network, has got a lot of activities organized throughout the week, but really what we're in need of is sort of just a host family where someone can come and have some meals and sleep with individuals. So just looking to see if you are know of people who might be willing to host or get the word out. And if you do, if you could pass your name on to me, or actually even Jess, if you know Jess personally. So again, not till the end of the month, but appreciate any references that you might have. And that's really why I'm here. I just know you have a good network, and I thought I'd reach out. So.
Okay.
Wendy, do you have a list of what type of household accommodations she might need? For example, like a, ramp access or first floor bedroom, or things that might be helpful for this group when trying to identify a host family?
Right, so I will say that, so she is in a wheelchair, but she is able to walk short distances and can walk some small stairs. I think ideally we would want somebody on a first floor. And I think her only need is a bedroom and an adjacent bathroom, a nearby bathroom, really, is that it. She doesn't need attendant, she's very independent. Obviously she's traveling with this group, so. But we've been, primarily reaching out through our student families, and so we're now sort of extending the search.
Sure.
So that's what.
Yeah, I sent an email a couple days ago to Mary Beth Barker, who was a former member of this commission and uses a wheelchair herself. She has an Airbnb. Unfortunately, she said it is not accessible.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
Mhm. One bathroom on the second floor.
Same here. Yeah, the full bath. Yeah, it's kind of challenging in that way.
Right.
That's, yeah, I hadn't thought of Mary
Okay.
Beth also said.
Yeah, yeah. So certainly if anyone has space, knows of someone who has space, you know, you can reach out probably most easily to Jess. You can reach out to me if you need
Mhm.
to. And we're happy to pass the word.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it very much. So
Yeah, and I'll
That's great.
pass it around Minuteman Arc as well.
that's wonderful. I appreciate it so much. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm gonna stay for your agenda as long as I
Okay,
can. So I'm
okay,
filling in for
wonderful,
Mark while he's here
wonderful.
too, so.
Okay. Janet, I see that you're here now. We had everyone introduce themselves. Do you want to introduce yourself? We've got several new people here tonight. Janet, are you able to hear us? I'm not
The
sure.
host, I think the host can turn on her audio, I think.
She's not muted.
Yeah,
She's getting
yeah.
background music and not the speaker. She just emailed me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Hmm. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
got
go
her.
ahead, Janet. Are you able to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
I'm getting, does anybody else having this problem? I'm not getting the
No.
speaker, I'm getting background music. No.
Do you have
so
anything
what-
else open
what-
on your computer, Janet? Do you have anything running in the
No, I
background,
don't.
maybe?
Oh, okay, that's a good question, but
Yeah, that might be it. Well, let's go ahead and.
okay, I
we'll
turned
come
everything
back.
else off, but it didn't help.
Okay. Well, let's let you kind of work on that. And I know Jess has another meeting she has to be at.
Still
this
happening.
evening. So let's go ahead and let Jess and Jennifer talk a little bit about the accessibility plan.
Okay,
Yes.
I can read the captions, but I'm getting just the background music.
Oh,
Weird.
okay. Yeah.
It's very weird. It's not even nice music. It's
Oh, dear.
Oh, goodness.
All right, yes, so as at least our veteran members are aware, and I'll make our incoming members aware, we applied for a grant through the state to hopefully have our accessibility plan updated, which the date it was last done escapes me at the moment. It's probably in another file where I wrote it down, but
2006.
okay, I knew it was like 20 years was in my head, but anyway, so we are expected to hear by the end of this month if we have been awarded that grant. I did get a very positive email the other day. They reached out saying we haven't made any decisions yet, but in the event you're awarded the grant, we just want to know who the signatory should be and all of that. So I definitely read into that as a good sign, but who knows? But hopefully within the coming weeks, we'll know if we get that grant. So the way the state works, it's a very fast turnaround. We basically have to issue our RFP and get that out on the street, solicit bids, responses from proposers, have somebody identified to do it, have them do the work, and then get all the bills paid by June 30th of 26. So the goal is to try to be preemptive and have our RFP ready to go so that if we win the grant, we can literally push the button the next day and have that RFP hit the street. So I believe included in the packet were a couple of sample RFPs that I got from other communities that have recently done this. Because of her expertise and knowledge, I did ask Jennifer to look through these and weigh in. And Jennifer, based on your email, you were of the opinion that it seems like the one from Stowe was the most comprehensive. The only thing I will mention on that, though, is that's interesting because that's actually just an invitation to bid versus an RFP, which just so folks understand that difference, like an invitation for bid, you basically say explicitly what you want, and then you basically accept the lowest bidder that meets what you're looking for, whereas an RFP has various qualitative and evaluative criteria for which you then rate. So in some ways, the bid process is actually easier, but you definitely want to make sure that you have everything in there that you want, because you really can't say like, oh, well, this person included this as part of their bid, but this one didn't. If you didn't ask them to include that, then even though it looks better, we have to respond based on what specifically we asked for. So that's kind of that process in a nutshell. So Jennifer, I don't want to know if you want to walk through based on your review and your knowledge, you know, what stood out to you in terms of things that were good as part of the Stowe one, if you think we should be, you know, maybe including any other information for the others, but again, the other three were RFPs, so.
That's right. I think there was one RFP in that collection, Jessica, if I'm not mistaken, that actually indicated the amount of the grant, and more or less asked the bidders to describe what they could offer for the money that is allowed in the grant. So the bottom line, realistically, I mean, process aside, is that there aren't that many offices that do this kind of analysis and reporting for ADA transition plans in the region. There's only a few. So the bidders are probably already known to us, because there's so few people out there that do this, so few firms. I don't know, Jess, if it makes sense to go through the nuts and bolts of the RFP with our commission today, as much as to get feedback from our commission on what they think, what we all think are the priorities for evaluation in the town of Concord. And so just to back up for 1 second, what we're talking about is called an ADA transition plan. It's a plan that's required by law. Every town and city has to have one. And what it does is it's a basically like when you buy a house and you get an inspection report, you know, and the inspection report sort of shows all the things that are kind of not working in your house, all the things that need work. You don't run out and like fix all the things on the inspection report the next day, but it acts like a roadmap to getting the house completely sorted out. The ADA transition plan for any town is kind of the same thing. So what it includes is an analysis of the public buildings and programs, because ultimately the ADA is a program related law. And it also then outlines an action plan potentially, and it can also outline potentially the cost related to the various action items in the ADA transition plan. So it's a really important document because it lets the entire community understand sort of where the gaps are. It can highlight what's working really well. In fact, the ADA plan that Adaptive Environments produced in 2006 for the town of Concord highlighted many problems with how administrative activities took place at town hall. And those physical environments have now been fixed. So quite a bit of what was identified as a priority in the first ADA transition plan has now been addressed. So without the plan, you don't really know where to spend your money. So that's why it's really important. There's almost always more things to fix than there is money to fix them.
Mhm.
And we only really have 6 months of time to set, like Jess was saying, to send the RFP, receive bids, choose a firm to do the plan, and then have the plan done. So there's only a 6-month window. So not everything is going to be addressed. I think it's really important that this commission think about, if not tonight, give our feedback, but maybe we could offer feedback to Jessica directly from each of you. Again, remember our open meeting laws. We don't want to have conversations about this outside of our forum, this public, but you can email back to Jess what you think the priorities are. So for example, I think priorities that should be addressed are voting sites in town. that would be one of the things I think should be absolutely analyzed. And when I say analyzed, it means that the team that's doing this plan will come out to Concord with their SMART levels and their measuring tapes and their book of rules, and they will look at how the town manages the spaces in which people operate, but they also look at the programs. So they look at all the rec programs and, for example, voting and how people pay their bills on, and does that work? And town meeting, does that work? Those are all things that a plan consultant would look at. But again, is there time to get to all of it? Probably not. So having a priority, I think, would be really helpful. One last caveat, typically schools and school buildings are a separate entity from town buildings and town programs. So if we want to do an evaluation of schools, they're usually very detailed. They are a lot of work, and that's why they one of the reasons why they get pushed off to a separate thing, basically a separate contract. But it doesn't mean that we can't look at programs that the schools are related to. But the idea of actually going into a school and looking at every classroom door and signage and elevator, all of those things, it's another ball of wax altogether.
So Jennifer, I have a comment, or Jennifer and Jess. I would love to see the bulk of the time spent looking at programs versus physical spaces. I think if we have them look at even just our public buildings, those, they could spend forever just doing that. And then, you know, I mean, some of that we do know, not all of it, not all of it, but I think the program piece of it, to me, seems more important to spend the bulk of the time on. Yeah, Robert.
I have two questions, if I may. I didn't understand, Jennifer, what about the schools. They're not included. They are included in what we're concerned with. It's complex. I'm just not sure.
Typically, they are not included in a town building and town program review. They are a separate entity. So
we wouldn't include them.
Correct. We wouldn't include them. I would argue that there are town programs that overlap with school facilities. And so I think in that case, then that we should ask our consultant to make sure that we are articulating a review of the program. Say, for example, when we have town meeting, it's at the high school, right? It's hard to do a review of town meeting as an accessible opportunity without examining how it's run, where it's run, et cetera, et cetera. So that is, I think, the gray area, Robert, that I think our consultant would definitely need to be advised of.
Yeah.
The second thing I wanted to ask was, I looked at one of the RFPs, and it looked to me like this. Isn't the consultant supposed to make recommendations about priorities? Yes, no?
They absolutely can. Some of it will depend a little bit on how we want to structure our RFP. So ideally, we have a list of qualifications that we want our consultants to have: experience, a track record, proven ability to produce a product on budget, those kinds of things. And that part of our RFP, part of our process, will be to take our priorities and create a scope of the project. Create a scope for the project. That would be one way of doing it. Let me explain a different way of doing it. That is where we ask different companies to put a price on our request. And our request needs to be, in a case like that, if we were to pursue that strategy, our request would have to be very, very complete, because we would want to make sure that whatever was being bid on was what we want. In other words, you can't ask someone to bid on A and then say, great, you have the job. Oh, but by the way, now that you have the job, we need all these other things added into that project. That's obviously not going to happen. So I think that it depends on how we approach this. And this is where I'm a little unclear about if there are town requirements as to how this RFP gets written. That's something that Jess and I need to sort out, and then we would structure it accordingly.
Thank you.
Okay, Andrew, you had your hand up, and then we'll have Justine afterwards. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I imagine that the last time that we requested this, there was digital accessibility was not part of what was focused on. And I think that that is certainly something that I would be able to contribute language toward what we would expect as far as capabilities from an organization. But I mean, we absolutely need to make sure that I mean, and some of this, I guess, overlaps with physical structures as well. Like we've probably had an ADA audit done on the library physically, but digitally, not really. You know, and the same thing for, you know, the town website, which is the gateway to do a lot of different, to engage with a lot of different programs. So I think we need to think hard about how we incorporate that, but it is absolutely a need.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And sorry, just to add to that as well. I mean, I alluded to the new regulations, but basically Concord and other small municipal governments have until April 24th, 2027 to meet a specific accessibility standard. And large states, municipalities over 50,000 have until this coming April. We have, being less than 50,000 people, have an additional year, but we're probably already behind.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So can I just jump in? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jess, are you aware of those regulations? Because we ought to be thinking about it for FY27.
Yes,
I don't know, but okay, you're all over it?
Not all over it, but I'm definitely aware of it now.
Okay. Okay, because you know we're in the budget process, so I think for 27.
Got a big note for that on there.
Okay.
And it applies to the schools as well, Tracy.
That was going to be my question for you also.
Yeah.
Okay, Justine, you had a comment? You're muted.
Sorry. I had two questions. Jennifer, you mentioned having this commission reach out to Jessica with some priorities as we saw them. Do we have a comprehensive list of programming that this commission could look at just as a reference point, especially for some of the newer members, to kind of review and provide some meaningful feedback or opinions based on?
That's a really good idea. We don't have a list like that right now. But one of the typical tasks of in an ADA transition plan project, one of the first things a consultant will typically do is either interview in person or send out questionnaires to every single department head or leader in the town. So that they can self-report on exactly what programs they have that are open to the public. Now that doesn't help us in this exact case, but it is something that, Jess, we talked about doing this in the past, like just sending out like a questionnaire to everyone and saying, can you just make a list of all the public facing programs that your department is responsible for? Some might have 6 or 8, some might have none. And so that is something that we could probably do before we know if this grant is coming or not. And it would probably be really helpful for us regardless even if we don't get the grant. You know,
Yeah,
to
I
have a-
agree. And I'm assuming our departments, you know, recreation obviously has their list of stuff. Council on Aging runs up a whole list of programs, library. I mean, those are the three big ones that come to mind. They probably already have some sort of internal list either for those regularly recurring programs, and then they'll have their side list going of like, what's some new stuff we want to try based on feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
and I think that would be, so just for everybody's benefit, I work as a strategy consultant. So I respond to thousands of RFPs and been drafting them as well. So happy to help Jennifer and Jessica where I can, but I think that would be a meaningful exhibit to even put in an RFP for someone to respond to. My second question was, if we go the RFP route, does this commission have like a standard scorecard that we then weigh those responses against? Yeah, okay.
Sorry, Jess, can I jump in? Each of the, yes, we need a scorecard. You need to have a defensible position from which you're making your selection. So I don't think we have a town kind of like boilerplate scorecard here, but certainly there are RFP examples, including the ones that Jess sent us, that all have their own individual kind of scorecard. So if there is a townwide one, Jess, we probably want to know what it is. If it's boilerplate, we can tailor it for this RFP. I don't think we do, but it would definitely be part of the RFP to put that in there so that everyone responding would know how they're going to be marked, like how they're going to be evaluated. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Right. Like usually it's, consultant has at least 3 years of experience, at least 8 years of experience. And then based on that is, how you score it. So yeah.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
So question to Jess and Jennifer together. Andrew has offered some assistance in terms of the digital space. Is there other assistance that you need? Are there other things that we can do to help with this process?
I think again, kind of like Jennifer had suggested, if there's things that folks think we should really just focus on, send that. But in some ways, I'm thinking about the number of programs. If we wanted to make it focused on programs, that's probably going to be more than enough. Because we have so many buildings, right? And all the different programs, the different spaces, buildings, there's it's not like we're focusing on programs within one building space, right?
Right. And Jess, as we've talked about before, I'm not a lawyer. We just play with them out in the field a lot. And ADA is not about building. It's about having access to an event or a program or a happening or a job. It's just that our empirical world is sometimes the obstacle to participating in those programmatic, whatever they are, with all those different things out there. So the laws, the idea of focusing on programs personally, I think is an excellent idea. It may, in the end, we may miss a crack or a corner or a closet of Concord. We could get that one in the next round, but I do think that it's a great way to highlight the places where the public most often interact with the three-dimensional world, and in which case then those places will be evaluated for that purpose. So I think it's a great idea. Jess, we just talked about possibly getting feedback from department directors and leaders. I don't know.
Yeah,
what's the best way to
two
do
of
that?
those 3 big divisions are under my purview, so I can get their program list pretty easily. So yeah, we can definitely do that. So I think that, coupled with whatever language Andrew can send along, I'm so glad you mentioned the digital accessibility, because 20 years, so much, the world is totally different in the last 20 years. We can figure out how to weave that in. And then, I guess timing wise, our next meeting would in theory be the first week of November. I'm hoping we already have the grant by then. Part of me would want this group to be able to review the RFP, but at the same time, I don't know if I want us to necessarily hold
can
it
let-
either, but I'll defer to Jean as the chair or the group, you know, that's here tonight. I just don't know what the best approach would be, because obviously if I send it and everybody reviews it, like we got to be careful not to be discussing it on email, but yeah, I know the sooner we can get it out on the street, the better. Although looking at some of these, I think people sent them out like in February or something great. Like, I don't want to wait that long.
Wow.
And one of
Yeah.
them sent out the RFP before they even got the grant.
I know, which I think technically you can do that. And then if you don't get the grant, you simply just cancel and withdraw the bid. But
Well, it doesn't win you friends with the
Right.
people that are.
no.
Doesn't.
Well,
Um,
so I think just as Jennifer suggested, any comments can be directed to you. I think actually they could be directed to you and to me, because
Yeah.
you're not technically a member.
Right.
But we need to be, I know you all probably haven't done training in the open meeting law. So Concord is very concerned about following the open meeting law with good reason. And so anytime that something gets discussed outside of a meeting by more than two people, it violates the open meeting law, because then members of a commission are having a discussion around a potential piece of business but the whole group is not included, nor is the public able to provide input there. So if you have ideas, you can send them to Jess, you can send them to me. But please, anything that you see, do not reply all, because that's what will get us into trouble with the open meeting law. Does that make sense? That sounded a
Yes,
little
I think if we funnel
lecture-like.
everything
Sorry.
that way, then Jennifer and I can use the Stowe template, tweak it, model it based on, this program focus and including the digital stuff, and then hopefully get something together. I guess we can play it by ear. If we get the grant, we can just get the RFP rate out right away. If the group trusts, what Jennifer and I, with the help of our procurement person as well, we do have a procurement person on staff. We could just simply get the RFP issued. Or if you wanted to wait and have this commission as a whole review the draft RFP at the November meeting, we can do that.
I worry about doing that partly because we typically meet on the second Thursday of the month, which would be the 13th of November. Then we've already lost,
That's what I'm thinking.
2 weeks of November.
So if you trust Jennifer and I to get something out with input, for ideas, but again, it sounds like we have a pretty good focus with looking at just the programs. I like that idea. We can just run with it.
And Jeff, just to add a little more kind of space to this, if we should write into the RFP that we expect a scope review with the contractor, with whoever it is brought on board, so that we can refine the scope with this commission prior to letting the dogs loose into to do the analysis. It won't take very long to do that, but I do think it's an opportunity for the contractor to meet with to meet this group and to get very specific feedback. I think before the contractor goes out and starts the work, they should be reviewing with this commission exactly what they plan to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that's written in there, because then we get it if it's in there. They bid on it, just knowing that that's a requirement.
Okay, Robert, you had a comment?
Yeah. So I don't know everybody, and there's one of the active cells has 2 or often 3 people in it, and one of them on my right speaks with some authority, and I just don't know.
Oh.
I mean, probably at some point I'm going to know everybody. It won't be a problem at all. But now I'm
Well,
lost.
Sure, so you will. So I'm Jean Goldsberry. I'm the chairperson, and this is our owl that I'm patting on the head. Nice owl, good owl, good job, owl. It's it
Not me.
huh?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. My
Oh,
picture was
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
and
there's
Karen-
Magnolia now.
Karen's sitting next to me. But
Jennifer.
the owl is a piece of technology that just sort of scans the room and tries to include whoever is speaking, but also other people in the room. So this is a good point to break in on this discussion just a little bit to let people know. I am going to request that at the November meeting, if at all possible, you come live to the meeting so that we can meet each other and have a chance to try to bond a little bit. We have a number of new members on the commission, and I think it will be really helpful if people can come live. Typically, we do this kind of format that's hybrid, and we have a few people in the room and a few people on Zoom. But if we can try to get as many as possible. Miss Janet, can you speak?
Yes,
see-
I can.
yeah,
Can you
okay.
hear me?
Yes.
I just can't hear myself. I just want to say, I think that's a good point about meeting each other. I haven't been to a meeting for a year. Some of us with mobility issues, that's a problem, but I will stress in the minutes, excuse me, I will stress in the minutes that this is particularly an in-person meeting, and I will, by golly, get myself there. But Jean, I wasn't here at the beginning, and could I just interject one thing I wanted to say, which is
Sure.
I didn't hear if you approved the minutes,
So
if you took that
we
up,
did
and
not.
also, I want in the when we go into overtime, I have something I want to say.
Okay, we did not approve the minutes.
Okay, I'm back to
As
not hearing anything
We
again.
do not have a quorum, so that it will be put off until the November meeting. Hopefully by then, new members will have been able to be sworn in. So you need to go to the clerk's office. It's a quick kind of
5
thing.
minutes.
Takes you like
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah, if that. But you will need to do that before the next meeting to officially be sworn in as a member. So tonight,
Can I add
Janet,
something,
yeah, just
Janet?
one sec.
Sorry.
Tonight, Janet, you'll just be taking sort of some notes of a meeting, but not a full quorum meeting. Okay, and Magnolia has a comment.
I just wanted to add, for those who need to be sworn in, the town clerk's office is flexible. They can accommodate if you want to call them in and let them know you're coming in. If you cannot go in physically, but you can be in the car, they can go out and swear you in.
Oh, okay.
Just not
Oh, good.
virtual.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's
That would be
not
great.
allowed,
Yeah.
but yes, just let them know of any accessibility that you need, and they will work with you.
wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, good point. So let me toss this back to
Jean,
Justin.
do I have to be sworn in again? Because I'm already a member.
Oh,
Then-
Magnolia is nodding her
then
head.
you-
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
technically, yes.
Yeah.
You should get a
Karen
letter.
also. Town clerk's
No?
office said you don't need to wait for the letter,
Right,
but it
but-
is in the
but-
mail, you will get it.
Yeah.
But even before you get it, you can go in and
Right.
get sworn
Okay.
in.
All right. So please do that if you haven't. And hopefully we will have a full quorum at the next meeting and get everyone here, and we can all meet each other in person and talk about the RFP that we will have won by then. Or the grant that we will
I'm
have.
hoping as soon as I hear, I'll let everybody know if we want it. I'm feeling
Yeah.
pretty good that we will, but
Yeah.
anything can happen.
Right, Jennifer. Yeah, let me toss it back to you guys to finish up.
So just, Jess, you have recreation and which is the other one under your?
Council on Aging and Recreation are two
Okay.
of my divisions.
Okay, we have a whole bunch of other departments human resources, fire rescue, economic vitality, community development, natural resources, planning. Like we have a whole bunch of public facing departments. So how are we going to get feedback on from them? So we could send, so again, I think it's useful for us to do this internal work. I think that a consultant coming on will help do this. I don't think we should wait for them to do this. I think we should do it ahead of time. I thought Justine's point was really well taken. It's something we could put into an RFP and demonstrate the kind of complexity of what they're up against and our need to narrow it down and be more focused. Not every single one of these departments has programs, but for example, if I need a permit and I need to get into the permitting office because I'm building a deck, or if I want to, talk to a police chief, whatever it might be, I feel like these are all different sort of on the hierarchy scale. They fall in different places. So I don't know. What do you think about getting feedback from all these folks? Do you think a letter would do it? I'm worried if we send a letter, then we might end up waiting for like 6 months for people to respond. But it's a good way to prime the pump too, knowing that there's a consultant that's going to be coming on board and asking the same question or a similar question.
So Jennifer, you're thinking of soliciting what their programming is?
Correct.
Or okay, because I can easily, we have a weekly SMT meeting, the senior management team. I can easily, bring this up at that and ask people to get me kind of their stuff. Again, I'm thinking about from a program perspective, though, how many have like programs, like obviously travel tourism, that's like programs. I think there's programming that like Mimi Graney does with economic development in the business community. Then the three I listed, COA, rec, library. I don't know if like fire prevention does any types of programs, but that's what I can try to find out. And then we can go from there if that's helpful.
Yeah, sure they do. They do that bike ride thing for kids, and I'm sure there's stuff too. Justine.
I was just going to say, would it be meaningful alongside to ask about their programming to also ask for the frequency of the programming or and like the level of involvement or volume or participation in that programming, even if it's just an estimate? So that might help with prioritization and understanding where we can have the biggest impact potentially.
Yeah, very good point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Robert.
As I was thinking about this, I thought, it would be kind of fun to, take an assignment. I'm going to talk to each one of these, or not all of them, but to a program or 2 or 3 heads. I would not know what to ask at this point. So it makes me think, Jessica, that when we have this meeting, maybe it's a good idea to give them some questions that you want them to answer, because they have varying degrees of what kinds of things we're interested in learning from them.
Yeah. So it sounds like, asking about programs, the frequency, how your programs, what else would be something we think would make sense?
How many people would be attending a program or different types of programming?
Well, calling the police chief doesn't strike me as something I would call a program.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Right.
It is important.
Yeah.
Well, but even the police chief, I know at one point they had a program here where they were training citizens or providing information to citizens. It was like, I don't know, 6 or 8 classes, and was pretty popular. I don't know if they still do that or not.
There could be some like just community policing things too that are programmatic.
They
run the question. He'll say like, no, we don't really do anything, or yes,
They run a summer program for kids who are interested in like citizen.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
remember?
I saw the
Yeah.
kids this summer. That's
Yeah.
right.
They do. But that, again, like Justine's point, like if there's like, there's gonna be a hierarchy of usage of these programs amongst the number of people in Concord. So I think that knowing that information is really helpful to help us sort that out. I think another question might be, are there programs that you might run, but you don't? Because you don't have a facility to do it, or you're worried about accessibility? My guess is that there aren't.
Yeah,
What do you think?
Justine.
So
Justine,
just
and
for,
then
to clarify the scope, Jennifer and Jessica, is it programming that's run from the town of Concord, so public programming that may or may not interface with a public facing facility? Or could it also be like, let's say the library, where nothing's coming out of the library funds, it's a public facility, right? But it's a private programming that they offer. So would it encompass both things that are funded privately and publicly, or just publicly through the town? Does that make sense?
Oh, you're muted,
You're
Jennifer.
muted, Jennifer.
For the purposes of an ADA transition plan, it's public only.
Okay, so yeah, maybe folks responding to this inquiry will know that, but it's probably worth just making sure that that's.
Yeah, no, I agree.
okay, Andrew, you had your hand up?
Yeah, and we're talking about programming, but the ADA also speaks to services. And so when I think about the library, for example, the ability for a citizen to log on and rent an ebook or reserve a book. I mean, that's not programming, but that's an essential service. So I think we need to make sure that we're careful when we're talking to and asking for information about what different departments provide, because a police department might say, well, we don't do any programming except for this and this, but there's a whole bunch of things that count as essential citizen services that fall under this as well.
Yes.
Yeah, Andrew's absolutely right. And but is the library a town department? I thought
So it's a town department, but it's technically like the library corporation, like the corporation owns the building, but the employees are all town of Concord employees. It's
great.
yeah. But again, I think for
It would
purposes
definitely
of
count.
this, I would count it because they are providing programs to all the residents. It's just, it's a weird dynamic. But like, I can't even have a badge or a key to that building because it's privately owned property, even though it's the public library. So.
Yeah, it's an odd configuration here in Concord.
Just one of many things.
Yeah. Anything else on this that needs to be discussed tonight?
I had
Okay.
one other question. You were talking about using the Stowe document as a template. Is there somewhere that I could see that or we could see that?
Yeah, it's in the meeting packet that I think Magnolia emailed around. If not, it should be. Is it on our website, Magnolia?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can send it again if you didn't get it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Jennifer, I will offline send you a message to see if we can maybe find a time to connect as per your email, either later next week or early the following week. And so now I do have to bounce to Rec Commission. I assume Wendy's probably down the hall already too. So but yeah, you're in good hands with Magnolia. And I'll be in touch. I'll see you guys all next month.
Okay.
Bye.
All right,
Bye.
take care.
Bye.
All right, let's move on to the amenities building at the high school, or the non-existent amenities building at the high school.
Sorry, Jen, I just wanted to say, I did take a look at the packet that Magnolia you sent. Thank you. I didn't see those sample RFPs. So just,
Okay.
yeah, so if you could circulate after this meeting, that would be great.
Yeah, she's working on that right now, so you'll probably have it before the end of the meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. So Tracy, you have things to say about amenities?
I do. Well, my biggest thing to say is I hate that they call it an amenities building. It really bothers me, but that is the language that we're supposed to use. It's a basic needs building. It's a bathroom building. Um, do you want me to share my screen so people can see where I'm talking about? Would that be helpful?
All right.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think I need
Magnolia,
access from Magnolia.
Yeah.
I'll send you a request.
she's gonna make
There
you
you
a
go.
co-host.
You got it?
Let me see if I can do it. Yes.
All right.
Okay. Let me see if I can put it in presentation mode. Sometimes that cannot happen on Zoom. Let's see if I can do it. Okay. We actually just went to the CPC for funding of the amenities building. So I'm not going to bring you through this CPC presentation, but just for your purposes, I'll just give you a little bit of history. The high school opened in 2015. A group in town called CC at Play fundraised for the building of the fields. So it was about a $5 million project. So it was a private-public partnership. And before, apparently there was some type of building there with maybe a bathroom in it. But that was taken down. And I think basically CC at Play ran out of money, for lack of a better word. And so it was kind of the responsibility of the school district to get that building built. So right now, this is what it looks like. So down by the football stadium, there are three porta potties. One is an accessible restroom, which I fought to get a restroom there that was accessible. And just, for a little bit of background, my mother-in-law had MS and was in a wheelchair for 30 years. So this is very personal for me. I think it's really terrible when you go places and you can't even have basic needs accommodated. We did have a student that graduated actually with Andrew's daughter and my daughter in 2018 who spoke at town meeting about this. So these are our current conditions. And basically what we're looking to do is we have a timeline of all the things we've done to try and get the funding, but we're just looking for a pretty much basic bathroom building. So this has been part of a school committee project for the past 2 years. We did not have a design initially. My basic point was to bring an awareness to the community that we don't have any type of facility in that area. And it's not just for football games. Concord Rec has a lot of programs down there. So listening to your discussion about rec programs, rec is definitely in that space. We also have things like Mighty Moose. We had 2,500 people on that campus with porta potties this past weekend. Kicks for Cancer's there. They're large community scale events. So it's not just for, I think people think it's for the 6 football games, but if you have any kids that have participated in anything at CC, it's soccer, it's football, it's lacrosse, it's, it's pretty much everything. It's not just sports, it's graduation. For the 250th, there was thoughts that there was going to be a music festival that we would have hosted. Part of the problem was we have no facility down there. The drone show was at CCHS, so it's very much a community campus. And so what we're looking to do is really put a permanent facility in because that is the requirement of the plumbing code. We have temporary that I think the building inspector has kind of looked the other way for 10 years. And everybody says, well, why now? Why didn't you do it before? And I think that there were other projects that came before this one. And so this has been on the list of things for 10 years and just has not been brought to completion. Part of it is funding. So what happened this past year is that and if this goes over anybody's head, feel free to ask questions. The funding for the regional campus, we consider ourselves kind of like a town that the school committee owns. So Carlisle funds about 26% of our budget and Concord funds the rest. It's all based on the October 1 enrollments. So there's a regional agreement. And so we get money from Carlisle, we get money from Concord. So what happened this past year is Carlisle Community Preservation Act funds, we're going to cover the entire Carlisle cost. And these are just, dual county leagues. Everyone has a bathroom except for us. So Carlisle this past year was going to totally fund their share, which was a little over $400,000 with their CPA funds. We had gone to Concord CPC and we had asked for the funding. People had said, well, you applied too late. We actually didn't have a design because of the way the school funding process works. We did not go out, we have to do the RFP process. So everything that you guys have been talking about, we have to do all of that. So our design came to the school committee about November of last year. Now in Concord, the CPC deadline is September. So we went to CPC late. We asked for an exception that was not granted to us. So Concord CPC said no, Carlisle said yes. So we had the 400 and change from Carlisle, and then it was just the Concord portion, which was about $1.4 million. We went to town meeting, it passed at town meeting, and then over the summer, the ballot vote, and I'll just stop sharing at this point, the ballot vote failed during the special town election. There was a lot of discussion around the election, around a voter information packet. You know, I'll just tell you my personal thoughts on it. There was some inflammatory language on the con statement that I was really disappointed that that was the language used and that the town council had approved that. There was a meeting on Monday by the select board, and the select board is now changing their process. And so they're going to go to 1 or 2 people, maybe 3, and get 3 different statements and then use that statement. So it was just, I really thought it was offensive personally in the con statement. And it's hard when I say that, then people accuse me like, oh, Tracy thinks it's election fraud. That's not what I'm saying. I think the language was inflammatory, and people are like, why do you need this much money for a bathroom? Whether we like it or not, this is how the public sector works when you're looking for funding. This is what they charge. If it was a private public partnership, it would certainly be probably 30% less, but we don't have any organization that will kind of start CC at Play back up again. We've looked for parents to do it. I've had people say, why don't you just fundraise for it? And I literally, I can't do anything else. I have tried, I have begged, borrowed, and stealed for it. We met with Senator Mike Barrett. We've met with Carmine Gentile. We've met with Simon Cataldo. We've gone the earmark route. I do, you know, and if anything, I don't think that this is just because we lost. I don't think it's, yes, I wish we had won, but there's an awareness around it. And I think that my priority is really to bring in awareness that we do not meet the needs of people that come to our campus. I find it really offensive personally, and I'll just keep on, I'll keep on advocating for it. I know the Bridge really likes to write about it. And they like to write about me and my amenities building. It is a basic needs building, and it is, in my opinion, it's just the right thing to do. Justine.
I have a couple of questions because this makes my blood boil.
It makes mine too. Okay.
So Alden, Laura's son, my son Ethan are both enrolled in the Miracle League in Acton. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but they recently, in years past, built a accessible baseball field, and there is an accessible bathroom, and some of that was funded through the town, and they did some fundraising as well. I'm just curious, Tracy, it sounds like you've done a lot, so thank you for all of your efforts. Have you spoken with groups like that just to see where they had success in fundraising?
Yep. So I volunteer at Miracle League. I actually looked at their bathrooms. It's the bathrooms are amazing. I go.
The field is amazing.
I look at the bathrooms. The field's amazing. Everything is. So Prow is a good friend of mine. Prow Sarnes, who is very active at Miracle League. She was like, look at our bathrooms. And I'm like, okay, I'll look at the bathrooms. The issue is the capacity at the stadium is 1,800. So it's a plumbing code. So Miracle League, you don't have that same capacity. So you can build something different and cheaper. So the school committee has voted on a permanent structure option. There's been some discussion about people want, you know, why can't you bring a trailer in? Well, we can rent a trailer for $3,000 a week. We don't have the money in our school budget to do that. We've really tried other options, and we were really hoping for this to pass at the ballot, and it was just really disappointing. But I'm happy to continue to fundraise, and I say it at every school committee meeting, I'm like, we're accepting donations. We haven't gotten it yet, but we have a vehicle to accept donations. Should anyone or any, you know, company want to do that, it's just a matter of, you know, I'd love any ideas that this group has, because we've been really unsuccessful as a committee.
I had one other question about your design that you shared on screen, because I hadn't seen that. For the family restrooms, has any consideration been given in those designs to like universal changing tables?
So Prow had,
adults?
I know that there's a nonprofit in Massachusetts, right? She had sent me that group, but it's called Changing I'm gonna get it wrong. She sent
Yeah.
me that, and I think that definitely should be part of, it's not in that design, but I think that that definitely should be part of it. And I guess the other hat I wear is I have a 5-year-old niece with Down syndrome, and her brother is 4 and he's on the spectrum, and both of them would benefit from that type of space, that type of changing space, because after 45 pounds, a changing table is not
Yeah.
appropriate.
And, it obvious, you're not just caring for children, but adults that might be going to those fields. And I know it's something when I travel with my son that, we're oftentimes, unfortunately, using the trunk of our car as a space to change him, which is not the most humane and, doesn't provide him with the same level of decency and privacy that others have. So I was just going to say, if there is a revision to that, I think that would be great. Is there an opportunity to bring this forward again for funding, or?
Yes, so right now we're in the CPC process, so they have our application. We have some money, so because it's a regional school district, we have some money, and like our version of free cash is called E&D, which is excess and deficiency. So one of the other issues I think we're coming up with the town is there's a lot of questions about sewer capacity, and we'll have a $300,000 sewer hookup fee. We're not really sure what that looks like, so we have contingency for that in there. But this is something like it either has to go in a town capital plan, CPC funding. I don't foresee that CPC would give us all of our funding in Concord, so we're going to have to come up with the rest of the money somehow, whether it's fundraising or some type of, I hate to use the word borrowing because I think people don't like to hear borrowing, but we may have money that we could use from E&D to come up with the delta. Now, the other issue I'll just say is that in Carlisle, we'll have to go through that CPC process again also, and there's no guarantee that we'll get that from Carlisle. But we've been in serious communication with both towns about it, so they're both aware. They both have very different deadlines, it puts us in a really tricky position. Jennifer?
So, Tracy, so isn't it the town of Concord charging you $300,000 to hook up to their sewer?
Yes.
So we're going to go to the town of Concord CPC to get money to basically hand over to the damn town of Concord for the sewer?
That is accurate. Or we're going to take it out of, or the school's going to fund that. But we have the money to do that. We're prepared. I don't know if that's going to be the cost. That's the best guess estimate of the cost. And I think that there's a lot of like, well, it's going to be so much capacity. But realistically, the only time that stadium is at capacity is one day a year during graduation. Now, this year, it rained and graduation was inside. So you had the same number of people using the toilets at the high school. It's like a 2-hour event. Everybody doesn't even use the toilets. Every single school day of the year, we have 1,500 people using toilets.
Seems outrageous.
I know.
That the town would charge us for that. This is a different question. So we talk about this as being like a lack of funds, but didn't the town just approve about $25 million or something like that for public works improvements like asphalt across the town?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Accurate.
So,
Yeah.
so the problem here from our perspective and the way we operate in the world as professionals, the town is required to meet basic needs for public facing programs. I would imagine the town has not yet been sued. So the town and the people who live here who think this is too expensive don't understand that the town is likely open right now, very vulnerable to a lawsuit for the lack of services in this location.
And we've expressed that multiple times, and it's met with, well, nobody sued us yet. I don't think that's really a threat. And I'm just being really honest.
Yeah, right. And us too. I mean, that is, I'm not advocating this is a good idea, but one could argue that a solution is to sue the town.
One could argue that, yes.
So theoretically, Jennifer, when and Tracy, the Mighty Moose that was hosted there last week. Like, I know families that had disabled children that went to that. And even if they're not disabled, just let's talk about restroom access. If the town gave, provided access to start the event there, potentially someone that went to that and maybe was unable to access a restroom or something could potentially bring a suit against the town. Is that what you're? Okay.
Yeah. Well, you're serving some of the population, not all of the population.
Yeah.
And you're not giving anyone an option for something different. So, there can be an event and you maybe don't have facilities, but you have for example, a bus that takes you to the facility, like that there's an accommodation.
Right.
So I don't think there were any accommodations, or it's even possible to create accommodations for this.
Well,
sort of
and I
thing.
believe that sometimes people think that ADA porta potty is sufficient, which it's not. If you need a personal care attendant with you, if you have a large power wheelchair, you can't rotate in that. It's not, and we know it's not ideal. Absolutely, 100%.
And it keeps people away, right? So
Yes.
it's a little bit like town meeting, which is another problematic place in Concord life, where
Oh, yeah.
if you can't find care for your disabled loved one, you don't go to town meeting, right?
Right.
So it's a similar thing. But so yes, Justine, I think I don't know. I wouldn't want there to be a lawsuit, but Tracy, is there something that this commission that you have in mind, or maybe if you think of something that not
So
tonight?
Yep, I
Yeah.
have one ask that I had emailed Jean about. So we have gotten a letter. We've gotten letters of support for this facility. If this committee, I know you don't have a quorum here tonight, but if you wanted to write a letter of support as a committee for this project, the CPC loves letters of support. I think it's always helpful to have letters of support anywhere. They can be individual, they can be as a committee. A lot of people love to write letters to the bridge. I don't know if anyone on this committee likes to do that. It's been super challenging. And I think, the voter information packet, the inflammatory language was offensive. And then there was an error that was also in the packet, and then it got sent again. So some people thought, they're just like, oh, it's so expensive. Like, look at how much it's going to cost me. And the error was it was going to cost 10 times, it had 10 times the tax impact. So it just, it was another thing that was beyond the control of the school committee. Yes, Andrew.
Maybe this is something when we look at our Concord accessibility plan RFP that we're highlighting something that while this is on school grounds, there's town programs. I don't know whether, Camp Three Rivers does, utilizes that space or anything else, but that seems like a convenient way to have a objective third-party assessment of the current state.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, I was thinking the same thing. We'll make sure that the programs that are down there on the field at the high school are included in our list for sure. Because that's no doubt something that would be highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Turn off the recording.
Prow had sent me.
Yeah, and they have sample letters and fact sheets available around creating universal accessible bathroom and toileting spaces and everything. I haven't been to that site in a while, but there might be some meaningful facts that could support a letter. But it is an organization that's specific to Massachusetts, so just for this commission's benefit.
Oh, that would be helpful. Tracy, when do you need the letter?
So they will accept it anytime, I think up till November 19th. So you have some time. We've already submitted our application with, I think we had 2 or 3 letters of support. The requirement is for 2, but I think that this commission, it would be really important from this commission in particular, because I do kind of feel like people just think, oh, it's the school's asking for more money. And
Mm.
you know, and it's like, and like I said before, it's very personal for me. My parents also live in town. My parents have mobility issues now. You know, they can't go to see their granddaughter when she's down there because there are no facilities, and nobody really wants to talk about that in public. And I think some of the pushback has been like, well, we haven't heard from anybody. And I'm like, nobody really wants to talk about a basic need. So
Tracy, if you need people
Right.
to talk about a basic need, happy to show up whenever
Okay.
and wherever for
Okay.
you. Honestly, it's something every time we plan a trip that we have to be mindful of is, you know, where there might be accessible toileting in spaces for our son. So
Yeah.
I
So,
also,
go ahead.
I'm just thinking, we've already discussed this, but to emphasize in this letter, the scope of usage, because honestly, I think many people in town think, oh, it's the school property, and like you said, it's only used for the high school games and graduation. But you know, I personally wasn't thinking of all of the other events that take place there that draw in a huge portion of the population, either within town or from outside. So it just awareness of how that space is used might be helpful.
Okay. So, Robert, you have a comment, and then I have a thought about how to go forward with this. Robert, did you have a comment, or was that your hand up saying yes?
You're muted, Robert.
I don't know what the hand up is doing. I know how that happens, but I don't know why it's stuck. So
Oh,
my hand is not up.
all right. Can you put his hand down,
I think
Magnolia?
I can.
Magnolia is going to put your hand down. So given that our next meeting will be a couple days before this is due, I can put together a letter, and I think it can go out to you with the packet for the next meeting. And if there needs to be any editing or whatever, we can make sure that gets done and gets to Tracy in time to have it included in the grant proposal. And also, Tracy, I think I mentioned to you, I will be writing a letter of support on behalf of Minuteman Arc, because a lot of my people use the high school fields.
Yeah. And I guess, like, just as an aside, you know, my niece is in Medfield. She's like, do you have a disabilities commission in Concord? Could I get in touch with someone? So I may try and set up my niece with Eugene at some point too.
Oh, sure.
She's trying to start one in her own town.
Oh, great, great.
Tracy,
Okay.
do you also have letters from CPAC? I guess.
We do not have a letter from CPAC.
Okay,
I could
that's
ask Ashley for
probably
that.
yeah, that's probably another good avenue, and just testimonials from, you know, that group of parents. So
Yeah.
I'll reach
that's
out to
really
Ashley and I'll see if they'd like to do that.
good. Okay. Tracy, thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you so much. I really appreciate the time. I know I've been here before, but I really appreciate the time, and I appreciate what you do for the town. So thank you.
Thank you. I am going to forward this to you guys again. You'll see it nice blue. This is a meeting that the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Persons with Disabilities is having on November 4th in Needham at the Needham Town Hall. They are now putting it also on Zoom, but I encourage members to attend that either live if they can, or on Zoom. It's from 5 to 7. So what time are we getting to be? Yeah, almost 6:30. So Mimi Garvey has put together a video about how Concord is an age-friendly community. And it's about 5 minutes long, 5, 6 minutes long. We can show you a copy of that now, or if you're feeling like, well, we're kind of done for tonight, we can save this till next month.
You send it to us? Whoops.
I don't think I can send it because she asked not to have the website distributed. So
Is it not published yet?
No.
it's not
Oh,
yet, not yet. So, all right, well, we can hold that until next month. This has been a pretty long meeting. Historically, hang on just a second, Janet. Historically, we did try to keep our meetings to about an hour. We've had, you know, significant pieces of things that we needed to talk about tonight. I expect the next meeting will be similar in that regard. So, you know, if you can plan for an hour and a half. And again, please, please, please come live to 55 Church Street, and we can all meet each other. I do bring snacks to every meeting for the people who are here.
Candy.
Yeah. Janet, did you have a comment?
Yes. I just want to say, are we into other business?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, okay. I just want to ask you, would you prefer to get the minutes after the meeting, like within a week or two after the meeting, or just before the coming meeting? Because this time I was very late, but I could do it either way. I enjoy reading before the upcoming meeting, reading what you talked about at the last meeting. I find that useful. So
Yeah,
I leave it as the
I would
way I've been
agree.
doing it.
Yeah, I think it's fine
which
to
is
have them.
do and send them out
Yeah.
within a week before
Yes,
the following meeting. Is that the
right.
general feeling?
Yes.
I can't hear you, so I don't know if you're saying
Okay,
anything.
well, I think
Yes,
we've
okay.
been signed out
Okay,
of Zoom.
and I'll try to be
We've
more punctual
overstayed our time.
next month.
So I will see you all hopefully live on November 13th.
Oh, you
Thanks,
didn't
everyone.
approve or disapprove of the last month's minutes, is
We
that
did
correct?
not. We'll
Okay.
do that at the next meeting.
So I'll just submit it, shall I
Yes.
just submit them?
Yes,
Okay.
I think Robert wanted to say something.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I want
Robert.
to,
Oh,
I did want
Robert?
to, so Janet, I see that the module that is the um artificial intelligence module is running for this meeting. And it separates action items. So there may be things that we're supposed to do between now and the next meeting. So I would suggest to take a close look at that.
Okay, well, we were not able to actually vote on any action items, but we did ask people if you have comments about the RFR to please send those to Jess.
Yeah.
So, but typically, I think that would be a really helpful thing. So we are signed out here at 55 Church Street. I will see you all next month. Again, it is Thursday, November 13th at 5 p.m.